Hello everyone, this is City Scrapper. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel today. Today I am very excited to be participating in a very special hop. This hop is marking the 1,000 subscriber mark for Scrappy Kathy, and that is such an amazing milestone and achievement for any scrapbooking YouTuber. So congratulations to Kathy. And we are all creating layouts that have to do with a first. In addition, we are using one of Scrappy Kathy's layouts and we are scraplifting it. For my layout, I'm going to be scrapbooking the very first time I saw our dog Rory. I'm using the beautiful layout that's off to the left. That is one of Scrappy Kathy's layouts. It's a very simple layout and I like that. I am often doing very intricate and embellished layouts, so I like the idea of using some mixed media and using 3 small photos and not having too many embellishments. So I like that inspiration from Scrappy Kathy. And right now I am gessoing a sheet of heavy white cardstock. That's 120-pound smooth white cardstock. I'm just putting some white gesso over it. And I'm going to be putting some sprays in the background. I love the colors that Kathy has in the background, that blue and pink and green. I decided that for my subject matter, I wanted to use a primary palette, so I'm using some bubble wrap, and I like the way that adds some texture to the colors in the background. And for the blue, I'm using some Art Anthology sprays. I'm using 2 different colors, indigo and ink spot. For the red, I'm using a Dylusion spray, and this is called Postbox Red. And while I love the intensity of the color, it's really beautiful. I didn't want it to be too intense, so you could see here that I just added a little bit of water and I just pulled back a little bit on the intensity of the color. And then for the yellow color, which is going to be the last color on the right, I'm going to be using some Distress Oxides, and the colors that I'm using are Mustard Seed and Scattered Straw. And I keep placing my cluster of photos over the top just to see how it looks and to see if the sprays will be where I want them to. Earlier, I had mounted my photos on some black cardstock, and I used the same configuration that Kathy had for her photos. I like the idea of having the 3 photos as one unit. It makes it a little bit easier to manipulate and to add the mixed media behind. So you can see here I lightened the red and now I'm going back in with a little bit more red. I'm adding a little bit of water to make some water droplets on the background and to pick up a little bit of the color. It really didn't work too well this time. I don't know what causes it to work well on some layouts and not so well on others, but I do like that effect of putting some droplets of water and then using paper towel to sop them up and then having those water droplet shapes on the background. It just isn't that noticeable on this particular layout. So I'm adding splatters in each of the colors. And I always try to keep the splatters kind of around the outside of the larger areas of color. I don't want the splatters all over the page. I just feel like if I have the splatters around the large areas of color, it keeps the eye looking at the photo. In addition to the splatters of the different sprays, I'm adding some white splatters as well. And that's just some white acrylic paint that I've added a little bit of water to. And then I'm going to add a couple of black splatters as well. And I like to add a few black splatters, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of stamping, so I feel like the black splatters are essential whenever I'm doing stamping with black ink. So I'm trying again by sprinkling some more water down, and it did make a little bit of a difference, but like I said, not a huge difference, but that's okay. I like to try all different things, and every little bit of texture and variation in the color helps make it interesting, in my opinion. Now I'm using a stamp. This is a Studio Calico stamp, and it's just like a mesh pattern, and I use this one all the time. I love it. It's subtle, but it adds a lot of texture to the background. Not actual texture, it kind of looks like texture. So here I'm pulling up Kathy's layout just to make sure that I have it here. Now she did a doodle around each of her 3 small photos. Instead I'm going to put a doodled border around the outside of the entire layout. So I have learned from Janet Fritz, from watching her videos, to always pull the line toward you rather than make the line by pushing the pen away from you. And I'm making some little squiggles. And now I'm just trying to clean up the corner here. I got some yellow on the corner, so because it's gessoed, it mostly comes up, not 100%, but a lot of it comes up. And now I'm using some fun foam to pop up my photos. And it's not going to be a dimensional layout at all for me, but I did want to have a little bit of dimension around the photos. The photos that I'm using for this layout are photos of the day that we adopted our little dog Rory, and we adopted her from an organization called Because They Matter, and they adopt dogs. Well, they adopt out dogs. They get them from kill shelters and they transport them to a parking lot, and we pick up the dogs right in the parking lot. They don't have a facility, so the dogs come off the van and they get microchipped and they go right home with you. And I was so nervous about getting Rory because we didn't know anything about her. We just knew that she was a girl and we knew she was about 35 pounds and we really didn't know too much else. So I was worried that she wouldn't get along with our other 2 dogs, or that she would be chewing things up, or who knows. You know, you never know when you adopt a dog that's a little bit older. But she worked out just wonderfully. She is such a sweet little girl. She got along with our other 2 dogs really well right from the beginning. There are some squabbles here and there, but for the most part, they get along great, and she's such a sweet little cute girl. It really couldn't have worked out any better than it did. I'm going to be calling this layout the first time ever I saw your face. And I remember, in my head, I remember perfectly looking at her face the first time and just thinking how cute and sweet she looked. And it was funny because my older daughter saw me making this layout, and she said to me, "Wouldn't it sound better to call it the first time I ever saw your face?" And I was like, "Oh, I know what you mean, but that's a song." And she's like, "Well, I never heard that song." So I don't know if you've ever heard that song. I feel like this might separate some people, you know, based on age groups, but I just thought this would be a cute title for these particular pictures. So you can see here that I'm using 2 sets of thickers. I was shocked because I had the larger thickers, and then I found these smaller ones that I got not all that long ago on Tuesday morning, when the Tuesday mornings by me were still open. But it's the same font, it's just 2 different sizes, so I was really excited about that. So then I decided that I wanted to move the photos down a little bit. I play around with the letters and the placement of the letters quite a bit. I really peel them up. It's a good thing they are those foam type letters that you can reposition very easily. And then I decided that I wanted to add more color down under the photos now that I've moved the photos down. So I took up all those letters and I went back to the sprays. And something I really like about using the ATG adhesive, you really can pull things back up fairly easily. And since I do that a lot, I enjoy the fact that it's not a big deal to reposition something, especially the photo, because there's foam on the back of it, and that ATG adhesive holds it down, but it doesn't keep you from being able to pull it up and reposition it, and it really never hurts the background when the ATG adhesive is attached to the foam. So you can see here that I added a little bit more of each of the colors, and then I'm just going back in and trying to mirror what I did on the top part where the areas of color are. So I added some of that mesh stamp, and I used the Stayz on ink. I forgot to mention that the Stayz on ink is useful because if you add other mixed media to it, it stays put, it doesn't run. I really like the way these letters are different sizes and a little wonky. It makes them easy to line up. I didn't have enough E's, so I had to dissect an L and add that to 2 of the E's. And then I decided that I was going to put the second part of the title to the right of the photo. I have a lot of journaling for this page, or for this subject, I should say, but I'm going to have to put it on a different page. I have a lot more photos, and I just feel like this wasn't a page to add the journaling to. I have way more than Kathy has on her layout, so I thought this little like kind of subtitle would look nice to the right of the photo. I used a little bit of gesso to clean up the background a little bit, but then I made another little mess over here, as you could see. So I'm just using some water and paper towel to clean that up, and then I went back in with some gesso again. And I love the way gesso can help you do so many things, one of them being cleaning up the background. Now, I feel like you have to put generally a couple of coats of gesso over something you want to cover up. It usually doesn't cover up the first time, but that comes in handy when you want to dull down the color, but you don't want to cover it up. So I keep my gesso handy. I do use it quite a bit. Now I'm going back in with a little dot stamp and some Stayz on ink, and I like the way that adds a little extra touch to the areas of color. Kathy had some sequins on her layout, so I decided to just use the same arrangement of sequins that she used. I picked out 3 different colors, and I picked out 3 of each of the colors, and I'm just making a little triangle out of them in 3 different parts of the layout. And I did try to use some dog-themed embellishments. I played around with that for a while. I really didn't like the way anything looked on the layout. I think I just had in my mind I wanted to make a simple layout with a couple of embellishments, but I just didn't like the particular stickers and things that I had. So this turned out to be a very plain layout. The only other embellishments I added were these Bella Boulevard hearts. I picked out one in blue and red, and then kind of a yellowish orangey color. And here I'm just adding a couple more splatters to the background, and I'm just adding a couple down where I wanted them. In addition to the splatters, I just wanted to make sure I had them in a few spots. Oh, and then the only little dog themed embellishment I added are these 2 little dog paws. And that completes the layout, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the description box for all of the ladies who are following along with this challenge. And don't forget to check out Kathy's big 1,000 subscriber giveaway. I hope if you like this video, you'll give it a thumbs up. And I hope that you have a fantastic day. And I hope to see you all again soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.